So in this video, we're going to be talking about social media strategy. What is a social media strategy page? This is the page that we're going to be talking about how to use their brand on social media. Now, I know I'm not a social media expert by any means, but I created this page due to popular demand from my clients because so many of them were wondering what the heck to do with their Instagram and how to make their Instagram branded. And so I thought, okay, I'll throw in my perspective because so many of them are asking. So even though I'm not an expert, and even though you're probably not, I think it's still something that could be beneficial to a lot of your clients. I don't include this with all of my clients. I would say just about 50%, those that either specifically ask for this or those that I know would really, really benefit from a social media strategy. So this is kind of what the page looks like. You can see I've got some images with a little caption underneath of what that image would be. I have 9 different images because it's kind of good to see like how are all of their images going to look together, like what types of images next to the other ones, those kinds of things. And then I have a contents topics page, which basically just goes into depth about what are the things that they're going to be talking about on social media. So why is this board so important? Well, social media, specifically Instagram, is an important platform for a lot of the businesses. Sometimes it's almost as important as a website, and it really can't be ignored. So I understood when my clients kept asking me for it. So I was like, okay, fine, let's do it. So here's how you're going to make a branded Instagram. Now, social media strategy page is really for 2 things. One is for content topics, and then the other one is for image creation. So I have one page that's talking all about how we're going to curate images and what kind of images we want on their Instagram. And then the other page is talking about what we're going to put on the content underneath those images. What you're going to first do is you're going to see what are their 9 posts going to look like. Now, anytime you're doing Instagram for a brand, you want to have a good mix of everything. You want to have a good mix of personal or close-ups or products or quotes. Like if your client is a florist, like every single image can't be of a close-up of a flower. We need to have some kind of variety here. So then I'm going to go back to my audience's problem and say, okay, well, they really need connection. So maybe we could do like close-up images of hands or people that are really close up, or images of the bride to show that kind of connection. Or maybe we could show images of you in your workshop making the flowers, those kinds of things. Like what are the things that are going to help them? Now let's go into the top content topics. So what's really going to help their audience in the stage of the journey that they are in? Kind of like what I was talking about before. What's really going to help you when you're making the Instagram strategy is this branded path that you came up with. Find the page that links up to Instagram or the social media platform that you're specifically talking about and see, okay, what are the things that we're really trying to accomplish here in this specific step, and how do we get them to that next step? And once you identify those problems, you're going to solve the problems through social media. So how do you actually solve those problems? Through social media. And this is what I do anytime I'm trying to create content for myself. And so I just did this with my clients. I take those objections, things that are standing in the way between the audience member and them hiring your client or purchasing a product from the client, and I come up with topics that allow my client to discuss these objections openly. So you're like, okay, Carly, how do I come up with topics though? So here's an example. They may need to feel artistic, supported, and brave throughout this process. They need to know that you have a legit business and they can be creative. So a few topic ideas would be like how to make your first $100, behind the scenes of famous artists, interviews with other business artists, when to know to quit your day job, what I wish I would have known when I first started my business, how to create a distinct and unique aesthetic, how to make a sales funnel work for your artistic business, and how to make the Christmas busy season not so busy. If you're having a problem coming up with solutions for your clients, this is a really great resource that I found through Sunny Lenarduzzi. She introduced this to me and it's been awesome. Anytime I'm really struggling coming up with content topics, I go to this website. It's answerthepublic.com, and basically all that you need to do is type in the subject or topic that you're trying to learn more about. For this example, I typed in branding, and then it gives me like literally hundreds and hundreds of the most searched, so they're SEO proven to be good topics that you can use. And it's got like how questions and can questions, and then it does comparisons, like anything that is searched up on the web that uses the words branding, like this has got it in there. You could also go to your favorite podcasts or just like anybody else in that niche. And this was another SEO tip that I learned was just look at what's performing well in SEO already and see if there's any way that you can top whatever's doing. So for example, if someone's like, the 7 best branding tips for your business, maybe I'm going to do something where it's like the 15 best branding tips for your business. Of course, my tips are going to be totally different than someone else's, but it gives you a good topic for you to talk about that objection or problem within really, really freely. So just to recap, you are helping the client with image curation and content topics. You're helping them find a good mix of images. Remember, we don't want images that are all the same thing. You're going to find content topics relevant to the stage of the journey that they are in. You need to ask yourself, what do they need to know in order to move to the next step? And you're going to help the audience solve problems. And you're going to use Answer the Public and other resources if you're struggling coming up with content ideas that relate back to the solutions.